I've always thought that Game Changers were just puppets of EA, being forced to say good things about EA titles, but I guess this is just confirmation. A YouTuber by the name of GGG Man Lives made an honest but negative review on the recently released Anthem game. He was a game changer but was blacklisted for this very review. My opinion is I really disliked the beta. It was buggy, it was boring, and it was just a loading screen simulator. He said the same thing, also adding that the combat was just jarring due to the amount of effects on screen and that it's just not a good looter shooter, which from what I've seen, it doesn't look that great. EA don't want your true, honest opinion. They want you to be able to be positive, but without seeming like a corporate shill.
Corporate fucking shill.
Let me explain. Game Changers was a program to get your favourite YouTubers to create content on EA games to create hype, make EA seem transparent, and get their audience to purchase the game. That's why Game Changers cannot be totally honest with their feedback. Let's take the Battlefield franchise as a good example. I really enjoy Battlefield 5, but I know a lot of people don't, especially some of the Game Changers like X Factor Gaming. He's a top Battlefield player and veteran of the franchise. But even though he said himself that there is a ton of issues, he decided to start the video off by saying,
and I'm glad to say that Battlefield 5 may be the best Battlefield title to come out in a very long time.
As much as I enjoy Battlefield 5, I can objectively say that Battlefield 5 is nowhere near the best in the franchise. The video was published during the release week of the game when people are looking for content creators for guidance on whether the game is good or not. But on his YouTube channel, even though he promised to make more Battlefield content, let's take a look at his channel. He made one video after on a tips and tricks guide. That right there shows you his honest opinion on the game, which is he doesn't like it enough to make content on it. So back onto the news about the YouTuber that got kicked out of the Game Changer program. He stated he was blacklisted by EA for being too negative, but this was his honest opinion. He wasn't being disingenuous, he was telling you what he thought about the game. However, I can totally see why he was kicked out the program. He started the video off with,
Anthem, I think, is just a bad game, plain and simple.
EA are smart enough to know most people don't watch the whole review, so they might get their whole opinion just off him saying it's a bad game, and of course EA do not want to endorse that. What EA want is people who are essentially yes man, but more importantly, if they have a negative opinion, they can go, well, I don't like this thing, but the overall package is fantastic. That's why this guy would have got kicked out of Game Changers. He's too unfiltered. They want creators who are kind of family friendly and who would be able to, say, host a news bulletin. There's nothing wrong with that, and in all honesty, I see why EA are pushing for that. Let's quickly look at EA's policy on negative feedback. I think this does show how hypocritical they are. If they give their honest and critical feedback, then they will get the full backing of the company. Well, that's clearly not true. He just learned the hard way. Statements like this is an attempt to make EA look more transparent, but they just aren't, and we all know that. They also said that they're committed to the player first. And I mean, if we look at the past of what EA have done, that statement doesn't seem right.
Or Streisand.
It's magic. It's magic.
I had to laugh at that because as a company, EA just aren't that great at taking on board player feedback. But the guy wasn't just fully negative. He did say he liked the premise of the game. There were bits he really enjoyed, but it wasn't executed well enough. That, in my world, is being critical and providing feedback. The reason this guy was allowed on the program was probably due to the high praise that he gave for his Apex review, which everyone praised very highly. And I guess they assumed he would do the same thing for Anthem, but it just completely backfired on them. But after watching more of this guy, I am very surprised that they even let him on the program. Like I said, this is someone who is very unfiltered, but in a good way. If you are watching, I have subscribed to you. Now, personally, I did want to be a game changer for a little while because I had in my mind that this would give my channel a boost and that I would get early footage, but then I quickly remembered I don't want that, and I want to just play the game like everyone else, experience everything the same as you guys. If you want to be a game changer, then that is cool. It's up to you, but just make sure you can be flexible with your feedback and make sure that your overall opinion on that EA product is positive, because ultimately they are using you to get more sales. They're not a charity organisation. At the end of the day, they are a business that needs to make money. I also want to note that I don't think that game changers are paid to say good things. But think of it like this, if you were getting flown out, put in the best hotels, met the developers, would you be more inclined to leave a positive review? I think most people would, so I guess you have to try and stay neutral and honest to yourself, but sometimes that can be hard. However, if you're just a corporate shill, have no morals, ethics whatsoever, then you will fit very nicely into the program as well. Thank you for stopping by. If you enjoyed this little discussion, then drop a like, and if you're new, drop a subscribe. Also, I want to hear from you guys, so make sure to drop a comment. I read all of them, and until next time, have a good one.